So this job has been a long time coming. We removed the swirl flaps as was considered the done thing, and still is today. Many people, oh, I've got problems, remove the swirl flaps. Still quite now can't remember why. I mean, it's all about reducing, restriction for power. But we have fundamental issues when we've done these builds. I say we, I've done this one, others have done very similar with the 16 valve head. Remove the swirl flaps, and then terrible cold starting issues and low RPM, smoking, and sort of not great response. So I think I'm the guinea pig here, who is going to remove his inlet, which removes this whole area. It's not just an inlet manifold. Unfortunately, it's the top half of the head which holds the cams in, and the injectors, and that cover, and that loom, and that pipe, and that bit there, and this bit here. It's pretty involved. And fit swirl flaps. So that's what we're going to do. So let's show you the swirl flaps, and then I'll just get on with this with some music, and I'll show you what we've got on. So here are the swirl flaps. One goes in each of the runners. There's actually 8 runners. We'll show that later. Donated kindly by someone. I think it was Sam. It might have been James. So shout out to you guys. I think it was Sam. Ages ago, maybe 3 years ago, someone sent me these because I chucked mine out for some reason. Now the issue I've got is the original fitment on this end. I drilled it and tapped it, so I've ordered these bronze bushings, which hopefully will allow it to work. And there's actually a ridge under here which has got an O-ring in it, which I've managed to find an O-ring to fit. To control, I'm not sure yet, but we just want to test cold starting, so we're going to fit it, and then we just hold it on an elastic band, cable tie, open or shut, just to test cold starting, and if it works with cold starting, improves the situation, then we'll add a little boost actuator, which means that off boost, they're shut, and then as boost increases, basically they open the flaps. Once you've got boost flowing, you're alright, basically. Right, let's rip my lovely, perfectly good engine apart. Okay, so I think we're about halfway. I mean, we're not. We're halfway once I've fitted the swirl flaps, which we haven't done. Let me get them, and I'll show you where they're meant to go. I could just fit them and show you where they are, but I know a few people are interested in this. Maybe about, I think there's 4 people interested in this video. So basically that's where the swirl flaps go, but obviously they go just inside here. There's a little hole that runs from here to here to here to here. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to get that shaft in, but there are people that said, oh yeah, just lift it out and just pop it in. It only takes 5 minutes or whatever. And the injector bolts I always get at least one that snaps off. Look, can you see that? Always one, and I keep a couple spare, but I've basically run out of spares now, so they were a pig to get out. So why are we doing this? Well, as you saw, there's 8 runners that go into 4 cylinders, 16 valve, and basically of the 8 inlet valves, 1 runner goes to each valve. It's a clever design. Take you over to the inlet over here, and you'll see what I'm on about. So you've got boost or inlet comes in here, and this is upside down. These go to each cylinder, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 valve to each. We've got a cutout of the head to help you imagine this. So as you can see there, you've got your valves, opening, closing, and you've got the 2 inlet valves here, up and down, and then the runners here to the side of it. And the runner, this one is completely uninterrupted, so it goes straight down from here. So we're going from there, then straight down, and if you have a good look through there, it's just got nothing stopping it, nothing interrupting the flow. Straight in to the port. Great for high flow, fantastically designed head from the factory. This one, it has to go all the way back over here, then down, and then, I don't know if you can see that, it kind of chokes the flow and puts it into almost a spiral pattern. Okay, so benefit of that is as the air goes down, it creates a swirl effect which mixes the mixture of fuel and air, diesel in this case, and helps that combustion when there's low airflow. The other benefit of blocking these off swirl flaps, so the flap sits in here, like this. So the swirl flap fits in there like that. So at low RPM, the air can't take its easiest route in. It has to take this route in, down there, swirls. However, you'd say actually it's a harder route because it's further to go. So at the same RPM, if if you've got that open, you've got the same airflow going through 2 ports into the cylinder. That actually slows the airflow down. As the piston comes down, it takes a gulp of air. Now, if it has to take a gulp of air from right above, well, the airspeed's very slow. But if it's got to take a gulp of air all the way back from over here, if you imagine, either can go down there, quicker route, slower speed, or over here. If the air has to be pulled in from a further distance, the airspeed increases, hence encouraging the swirl even more. Hence why we call these swirl flaps, because when they're shut, it initiates more swirl, which helps the combustion. So at low RPM, when there's not much airflow going on, you want the air in as fast as possible in a swirl formation. The top of the pistons are domed as well, they've got a little cup in them to help that. And because of that, this helps then get that swirl going, nice mixture, bang! So this should help with cold starting. So it'll be shut when cold starting, or low RPM it'll be shut, and then as the boost comes in, yumminess. Right, all we've got to do now is somehow fit this in over there. Yes. So got to untap the thread, try and fit this bronze bushing in there somehow, not get all the swarf into the engine. That would be a thumbs down. Anyway, gonna have lunch, come back to this, and I'll do a bit of video when it's all finished and perfect and working fine. Or all this will be worth nothing. Hey folks, so all you've got to do if you've converted your 8 valve, 16 valve HDI and didn't put the swirl flaps in originally, and gearbox mounted your turbo, and drilled and tapped the hole at the end, all you've got to do, remove everything and then drill it out. So each sort of has its own little bushing, because obviously it only just rotates like that. It's not like it's spinning at any dramatic speed for a long period of time. So it's, I guess, in some way self-lubricating. Let's pretend it is. Got a little O-ring just there at the end of my tip of my finger. And then obviously it's going to stop the boost going outside. No. But we had drilled at the end here. Let's see if we can get you in there. We had drilled right in there. Can you see the sensor? And tapped it out for a bolt, and we put RTV on it to seal it, because obviously it was a hole to atmosphere. So as you can see, we've machined the end of that now. We've machined it, the inner hole to 12mm and the outer to 16 to take this lovely little bronze bushing. So this bronze bushing will support this end, but also create the seal on the outer to the head and the inner to that seal there. It will prevent any boost from escaping where it's not wanted. So let's tap that in and hope that fits. That bronze bushing has gone in there absolutely sweet. Look at that. I couldn't have hoped for any better. So I think what we need to do is just we'll clear off all this muck here and all the filings out the way while the glue is setting, and then we'll drive our shaft through, and then we put the flaps in afterwards. Quick tricks I've been using here, by the way, I know there is some filing still kicking around, is I always soak a rag in grease and then put it round here, and that catches all the swarf. That's my top tip. Always fill any holes that might get filled too. There's some cloth down there, there's cloth down there, there's cloth in all the holes. You don't want it going anywhere you don't want it to go, obviously. And now the actual flaps themselves are going in, and you can't push them in too far. There's actually a couple of steps on them, little guides. So you put them in, and they go in like a little penny slot, and that's it. You can't push them in any further. Bring them back to shut, and then put the screws in. And then because they're shut, even if you drop the screw, hopefully it won't go in the engine. That's the idea anyway. Something you'll notice if ever you do fit these is they're nice and free. They should be nice and free, you know, because the actuator on them doesn't have to work hard. It just needs to flick and open. But if you over tighten these bolts here, it gets actually tighter for whatever reason. It tensions the rod in some way that this gets really tight to turn. So you get the tension just right, and then obviously are slathered in Loctite. Now, worst case scenario, one pings through. It's going to create some damage, but the flaps won't fall through because of those stops on the back of them. There we go. Still a bit of glue setting off on the side there. Time for some more food, cup of tea, and we'll come back and start, you know, putting it back on, because it won't run so good like that. Must reconnect the battery and a couple of other things, and then we can start it. Sure. So pray tell, Piggy, why are you removing the sump for the 50th time since owning this vehicle? Well, let me tell you, all 822 viewers. That'd be weird if you were that one, wouldn't it? You know, I like to be thorough with my oil changes, and we're due an oil change, so let's be super thorough, shall we? So, Piggy, it's got nothing to do with the fact that you've dropped a bolt into the head, which then dropped down into the sump. Let's see what we find, shall we? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let's pop it off there. Should be it. Come on, baby. What do we find? What do we find? Well, interesting story is that there is a piece of metal in the sump, but it is not the bolt. There's nothing in the sump. It's a big bolt. Well, I think it's a fairly big bolt anyway. It goes down the block drain. It only dropped, I didn't turn the engine over, didn't do any of that. It's actually not very dirty. It's probably because it's been mixed with diesel so much in here that it's, you know, cleaned itself. So where is that hidden bolt? Well, if you look very, very closely, right in the centre of shot, just about see the threads in the hole. That's our bolt. Let's try and flick that out, shall we? Well, hello there. This is the bolt. We got it out with some of these, which was nice. Took some fiddling, mind. So, now we can put this in place, put the injector sump, put the injector lines on, bleed the system, clean up the sump, fit the sump, glue the sump, bolt the sump on, put the air conditioning pump back on, plug that in, bolt that back on, pipes back onto that, auxiliary belt back on, wheel, fill it with oil. Okay, let's do all those things I just said. Okay folks, so it's 6 degrees, 5 degrees, pretty cold, and we're going to go for a cold start. Let's go and check the, better go and check that the swirl flaps are absolutely closed. Check. No glow plugs. Not touching glow plugs. Here we go. Nope, no difference at all. Might go if we give it a cycle of glowies. Yeah, it'll go. And she's finally going. So the glow plugs make the difference. Swirl flaps, no difference. Smoke. Absolutely no difference at all. Lovely. Yep, that was a waste of time. So bike some comparison, we're in the daily, the 2 litre HDI daily, 306. We're going to go for a cold start on that. I haven't run it for 4 days. It's been freezing cold all weekend. It's about 4 degrees today. Here we go. Not even going to let it prime, just going to go straight to start. Perfect. That's how the Lemoan should start and run. Oh, and look. No fog screen.